New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. And hello again, dear ones. Rev Brz with you over here.
Rev Z right here.
And this is New Thought Today. Happens every Tuesday here on the New Thought Media Network. Z, how's your week been?
Oh, it's been, it's been good. Been a little activity here, a little activity there, but God is good. Not sometime, but all the time. So I'm just leaning on that and celebrating.
Exactly. Not sometimes, but all the time, no matter
all
what the
time.
occurrences or the conditions may seem. So glad you're with me this afternoon. Glad everybody out there is with us. Remember, you're more than welcome to chime in and bring your comments, be a part of the conversation. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you're hearing. And especially because we have a very special guest with us today. And I'm so excited to introduce to you Reverend Jerry Hobby. Now, Reverend Jerry's not a stranger to New Thought Media Network. She was with us last year on this program as part of an exploration of what at that time was the Honoring Our Freedom event. Now, that was always intended to be part of an lead up to the big event that we've been talking about around here for the last couple of months, the Celebrating Our Soul event. So let me read an official bio for you and get to know Reverend Jerry, and then we'll get to know Reverend Jerry a little bit better. She is a founding member of the People of African Descent New Thought Group, which celebrates humanity by bringing forth those New Thought leaders of African descent to share their wisdom and knowledge of truth for the betterment of the world. She is also a spiritual director of the Spiritual Enlightenment and Truth Focus Ministry. We call that CFM. It's an online ministry which enriches thousands through their Sunday morning power talks and programs which teach spiritual principles. Seed FM recently relocated from Rancho Cucamonga, California to Sutter Buttes area of Northern California. And therefore, we're very lucky we've actually gotten Reverend Jerry to be here today because from what I understand, she just finished that move on Monday or Tuesday, I think, yesterday.
Friday.
Yeah. Tuesday. We invite you to check out her ministry, and we'll leave links in the show notes. The ministry does focus and engage people in spiritual practices and recognizes the world is its canvas. I love that line. She's a visionary that has over 25 years of experience in youth ministry, including training of volunteer staff and building a thriving youth program at the Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. She's also served as the team coordinator for United Centers for Spiritual Living Asilomar programs, as well as an advisor at the preteen at Asilomar, regional camp director, and member of the CSL International Youth Camp team. My kids are leaving for camp tomorrow.
Great.
Folks, it's too late. Sorry, but mine are leaving tomorrow. So my dear wife and I get a week without kids. She is the two-time Youth Champion Award recipient and graduate of Holmes Institute School of Consciousness. For over 22 years, Reverend Jerry has served as a Center for Spiritual Living ordained minister. We're so excited that you are here. And we're going to talk a little bit about Seed FM a little later. But first off, we want to dive right in and give you a chance to, introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit more about the Celebrating Our Soul conference.
Oh, wow. I am just so excited about this. This is a very special and a historic moment. I'm so grateful that I have an opportunity to participate and be a part of this event. We've been working on this project for over 2 years now. we were at a conference in Denver about 2 years ago, just before COVID, and we received a message from our counterpart. I call them our cousins, the people over at Unity. And they wanted to get together with us and they wanted to collaborate on a project. And this is the project. It's coming to fruition. And it's so exciting to come together with people of new thought from various genres and to come together and to collaborate on something that's very, very special. And I'm going to say it is a timely moment right now. Their inspiration started with things that are happening in the world. And I love the fact that here on this network, we get to talk about new thought, its relevance in the world, and we also get an opportunity to address a lot of the things that are happening in the world. At that time, we'd heard about the shooting in Charlotte and how devastating that event was. But the thing is, we know the value of spiritual practice. We know the value of these teachings. And they began to work on this project. And this group brought it and started to expand this and to reach out to everyone that knows the value of these teachings and new thought. And that's what's brought us to this moment right now. And I'm excited about it because the excitement is we get an opportunity to impact humanity. And that's the most important part of what it is this is all about. And every day I wake up, my goal is always to look at how I can make a difference in the world and how I can show up and be that beneficial presence and support others in doing the same thing. So I'm very excited about this event. We have wonderful people that are showing up, and it's a moment of empowerment for every single person that shows up for this event. Now, my part I'm so excited about is the fact that I'm going to be working with the youth. And we have created a dynamic program. And if you have not registered yet, I'm encouraging you to register. I want you to know, too, that this is a family friendly event. So bring your children. If they missed out on camp, bring them to this event. And if they're going to camp, I want you to bring your kids anyway, because it's a leap from what they're experiencing right now at camp. They get to come back, and we want to make an impression on our youth. And we want them to show up in the world and be a beneficial presence. That's always been my message as camp director, as leader in the youth movement. And it continues to be the same message because we grow up and we become children of the world as an adult. So it's something that continues to carry on again and again and again. So um, I would love it if you brought your children and bring yourselves too, so that you can benefit from the richness of this event. And we have a very, very rich program.
Wow.
So,
Yeah,
mhm.
Jared, one of the things I love about that, excuse me, in terms of bringing the kids is because when you have the kids and the adults together, we can give them the information, but then they can also see it enacted by the adults. So it's not just a theoretical kind of a concept or
Mhm.
educational academic expose. It is a
Mhm.
actual interchange between it's a active educational experience. They're involved. They see the leaders. They see their parents. Their maybe even grandparents involved in creating not just workshops but solutions. Because that's one of the things that I love about New Thought is that it's solution oriented. It's about you know you have to treat and move your feet. So we do the
Exactly.
theoretical and the philosophical and the ideological work, but then we have to go and do something on the physical side of reality to make the balance, to create the yin and
Absolutely.
yang. And so I love that.
Mhm. Absolutely, yes. I have a saying. It says, "A family that prays together stays together." And for me, when we talk about prayer and everything, it's about our actions, how we're moving our feet and what we're doing. And what a wonderful way for people to collaborate, to engage. I like to call it play together.
Yeah.
We get an opportunity to play together. So, yes, exactly. So I'm
No,
excited for that, and I know that you're going to be there.
yes.
You're going to be talking about ancestry and all of those things there. And in our youth program, we're planning a special program where they get an opportunity to move. We talk about historically people of African descent and how they entered at this, if you know your history, the door of no return. We're creating a special space where they get to open to the door of eternity and healing. So I'm excited about that. We're planting those seeds within our kids. Not only are we planting those seeds in our kids, but we're also giving them something practical they can use when they are in the everyday world, also, because we don't have a blind eye and we don't have our heads stuck in the sand. These teachings are not airy fairy, they're real, they're very powerful. And we can use these teachings to be a healing presence in the world.
And I think that's very timely given what happened yesterday in terms of having the 4th of July. And I see a lot of
Hmm.
chatter going back and forth on social media about African Americans' participation in that event or that holiday and so forth. So this idea of being able to clearly articulate who and what we stand for, or what anyone stands for that matter, and be able to do it with eloquence and without trying to belittle or berate somebody.
Exactly.
There's the famous speech that came up yesterday a lot of Frederick Douglass when they asked him uh, about the 4th of July, and he says, didn't mean anything to us. We were still in slavery, and so this idea of celebrating our soul, I think, gives us the opportunity to 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 use that as a catalyst, if you will, to define for ourselves, to speak for ourselves, and to be acknowledged for what we bring to the table, given what we've come through in history and life, in general, but to new thought specifically. So I'm so excited about this event.
Yes, 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 yes. And there are a lot of great things that are unfolding. We get to celebrate the richness of our history. We get to understand our heritage, and we also get to be shapers of wonderful things in the world. I'm excited. I don't want to tell everything, but one of the things I'm very excited about is we decided I'm going to be meeting with my team a little later today, and we're preparing to have a special toast. That's how we're going to launch things with our youth program. Um, and in that celebration, we're celebrating the power of our youth. There's a young lady. She is the inventor of a living lemonade. I can't remember the exact name of the lemonade, but we're going to have a special toast. And her lemonade is very popular. It's in the store. Um,
Nice.
and that's going to be very exciting. That's the potentiality. It represents the potentiality within all of our youth. And we want to inspire the potentiality in terms of how they can show up in the world, how they can contribute. And we get to contribute in our own way. I think about those potential veterinarians. I'm thinking about those potential entrepreneurs. I'm looking at we're looking at the canvas of the possibilities in terms of how we can contribute and be a beneficial energy in the world. And I'm excited. I think our history is part of how we get excited. I think our history is also a teacher, and it supports us in making better choices. And I know that our kids are in an interesting place right now. When I say they're in an interesting place, they're questioning life and they're wondering. I'm just forgive me. Sometimes I think they wonder if we have lost our minds. Truly. They wonder if we have lost our mind. But this is a safe space for them to have these deep conversations. It's a safe space where we get to support them and empower them and make sure they have tools that they can use as they engage in the world. And this is part of how we heal right now. So much has happened in recent years, but I love the fact that we call them conditions. These are conditions, and we can address those conditions in a healthy way. So I know I sound like a broken record, but I am excited.
That happens on this show all the time because you're speaking to so many of the themes that we do talk about on this show.
Mhm.
Personally, love and we talk about being conscious of the multi-generational impact that even the smallest of actions right now can make for the future and healing the ancestors. And I love that you're speaking to this. One of my favorites is that I believe we're here to erase the false belief in denominationalism within New Thought. And
Absolutely.
So from the beginning, you're working with both unity and religious science or science of mind ministers and anyone. But it sounds like
UFBL is going to be involved. We have Hillside that will be involved. Many people know Hillside from Reverend Barbara King, but it is going to be wonderful. We have Dr. Michael Beckwith. He will be with us. There's so much going on, and we have a lot of people that are contributing to this event. And it is going to be a wonderful, wonderful blessing for all of us, everyone that shows up. The artistry is wonderful. We're very excited about the artists that are contributing and that will be a part of this whole program. John Stringer will be a part of that program, and some other people. Queen Michelle will be a part of it. We have lots of wonderful, wonderful Bukeka. We're going to be hearing from all of these wonderful people, and everyone is bringing their energy and they're bringing it forth to really support this program. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at my calendar and I'm getting excited because the time is moving forward, and I lived in New York for a while, and every year the Brooklyn Academy of Music, BAM as it's still called, they had these events, these music events where they it took place over I think it was Labor Day weekend, 4 or 5 days, and it was just like a village, right? People set up their wares. They had, people engaging in conversation. They had good music. They had good food. But the main thing was there was a platform and an energy and an opportunity to begin to share ideas and to laugh and joke, to be serious when needed, and to explore the whole spectrum of life with a particular approach and solution to address issues. Now with BAM, it was music and dance, and so we're going to have some of that there, and we're going to also have the conversations at all levels of New Thought and the community, and how the African American or the African diaspora community is affected and involved by either utilizing or not utilizing these wonderful principles, these universal principles of New Thought. So that
Absolutely.
just excites me.
I am excited, and it covers the part that I'm excited about too is that it's covering the whole genre. I didn't even mention the fact that we actually have a person, a wonderful practitioner, Reverend Dr. Liza Swordarsky. She's a medical doctor, and she's going to be addressing health issues. Um, when we talk about these teachings, we apply it everywhere, from everything from our relationships to our health. It includes our finances, all of those different things there. So I'm glad that she's going to be a part of the program. There are a lot of things that we can use, we can apply in our lives. And from the medical perspective, we talk about these teachings and we talk about the omnipresence. We get an opportunity to really see what it looks like and feel and experience what it looks like in a practical way in this human experience. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
Loving it. Loving it. And again, I love that it's immersive. There is the whole intention is to be a part of I hesitate to say temporary, but to be a part of a community that has come together for an important spiritual purpose and a profound spiritual intent, to bring that kind of collective of people, that kind of energy, that kind of shared and aligned consciousness. By the principles we teach, it's got to change the world.
It does. Most definitely, it does. It does. It is. I don't. And we get to remember that it is really happening right now. We're just part of that, and yes, it is. In this moment, it's temporal, but I'm saying that it is definitely a historic moment. We're making history as we speak right now. And I always tell people, I said, if you blink, you might miss something. This is the time we need to really pay attention because we don't want to miss a thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, folks, you don't want to miss this. If you can, clear your calendar, get to Unity Village August 11th through the 14th. Registration is open. There is still room for, we may be into the virtual only realm. I'm not sure on that regard, but there's still ways to be involved with this conference and look at the lineup, keynote speakers, just all in 1 week. You're going to walk away fulfilled. You've got amazing workshops. As we've been talking about, the music team is just off the hook. We did a great interview with John Stringer last week. If you didn't see that, folks, go check that one out in the archives. It was a great thing. Z, I think you had something you wanted to add there?
Yeah, no, I the thing I wanted to speak to as we've done on all the programs is that because this program is being sponsored and put on and delivered by people of African descent, it is open to all people. It is open to everybody.
Exactly. Yes.
So we're trying to create, if you will, this concept of the open table where everybody has a seat at the table. Everybody's
absolutely
welcome. But if I go to your house, you cooking the meal. If you come to my house, I'm cooking the meal. And so with that kind of exchange of ideas, that's what we're doing here now, because we as people of African descent, we have a different perspective on the world from somebody from another part or another ethnic group or another cultural, presentation, which again, as I always say, the more eyes we can get from the different perspectives, we get closer and closer to getting a 360-degree preview of a situation. And we know the more information we have and the more perspectives that we have, the better decisions we can make, the more understanding and more compassionate I can be towards someone, the more uplifting, and on and on and on, because I can look at things from a different perspective. So I think I'm excited. I know I sound excited. I'm sorry, but I am excited.
I think we're going to have a hard time keeping you in the building during this
I'm looking
conference.
forward.
Hey, folks, if you wonder what you've stumbled into, this is New Thought Today on the New Thought Media Network. Our special guest today is Reverend Jerry Hobby, one of the founding creators and inspirers and driving visionaries of the Celebrating Our Soul Conference. We're going to need to take a quick break here, let everybody grab a drink of water, and let our sponsors share a little bit about what they do. And let's learn just a little bit more about the Celebrating Our Soul Conference. We'll be right back in just a minute or two. Stay with us here on New Thought Today. And we're back of more New Thought Today here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm Rev Brz, our co-host, Reverend Liza Swordarsky, and our special guest, Reverend Jerry Hobby, here today talking about the Celebrating Our Soul Conference. And you believe registration is still available. Is that correct?
Registration is still open, yes.
Yes.
It is still open. So all you need to do is you can see, and you can go to the Mighty Network. There is a link there where you can register for the event. And what I want to say too is, and I'm going to emphasize, we still have openings, and we have a dynamic youth program that has been planned. John Stringer is going to lead a special workshop where the youth are creating a special song that will be presented on Sunday. They have a special presentation they planned. And we have a stellar team of people that are passionate about youth that are going to support them with a couple of things that they'll be participating in. And for the price, I'm just going to say this, for the price, I know, Reverend Robert, you can testify that it is well worth it. I guarantee you, for his children to go to camp, it costs way more for them to go to camp than to attend this event. So I encourage you to go and look into that. What a wonderful family adventure. I'm going to call it a family adventure. And you guys they will get a chance to do a scavenger hunt. And that scavenger hunt will be focused on history. And there are going to be some wonderful things that they're going to learn about and experience there in Kansas City. So it's going to be wonderful. I would have loved to have had that experience if I were that age. It's for me, when I was younger, one of the most profound experiences for me was to go to Yosemite National Park and to see those trees that they had burrowed holes through and came through on the wagon train. And I remember being a youth having that experience. I think for your kids, them having this experience will be equivalent to my experience then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and you messed me up because you said Kansas City, and the first thing I'm thinking about, oh, barbecue.
Well, most definitely, there's barbecue there in Kansas City. My husband is from Kansas City.
Nice.
He's going home. He's going home. He's gonna. We have scheduled that event, and I'm sure that his favorite Kansas City barbecue is Gates Barbecue. So I know, and I know there are many others. I just want to acknowledge them all. But I have to tell you the story. Gates Barbecue has sent a lot of kids. When I was doing youth ministry, it sent a lot of kids to camp. We had two people that were part of our group. My person who would lead one of our fundraisers every year, we called it the box lunch auction. And she would take these, she would bring the barbecue, and my husband would bid on the barbecue. And it was Gates barbecue sauce. And Gates barbecue sauce was really worth the $200 that he bid it on. Yes, but yeah, there's plenty of barbecue. They're famous for that. They're famous for jazz too. Um,
Yes.
and there's an underground railroad. There's so much history. It's very rich in Kansas City to know the history of Kansas City.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that, and I love that it was uh fundraising for your soul with the barbecue, to get them kids out. I like that. And Jug, we might need to look at that. We might need to auction off some barbecue tickets or something up in there for the next go round, because I listen, and this is a side note, but it's very interesting. I just happened to listen to an NPR show yesterday on barbecue,
Uh-huh.
and the gentleman was talking about the history of barbecue, and he said that the term barbecue came from a Native American misinterpretation of a word. They used to have the racks up that they would smoke their meats on, and somehow the word got translated to barbecue, which was the physical thing. And then he talked about the history of it from Native Americans to the African Americans, and the whole rich history of barbecue, and that it is the only thing where all pieces of it, the food itself, the process, and the thing you fix it on has the same word, barbecue. I thought that was good. And so when it comes to celebrating our soul, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have some barbecue of the soul, some good sauce for the spirit, and some good eating for the community to come together and chop it up, so to speak, to create solutions, to espouse these principles, and to actually see them put into practice right there on the spot. So
Absolutely.
it's going to be a great place to be.
It will definitely be a great place to be for me and my family. It's quite interesting. My husband was the one that introduced me to New Thought. I don't know if you guys know that.
No.
And it started there in Kansas City when his grandmother was alive. His grandmother would have her children take her to Unity Village. And that's how my husband found his way to New Thought, visiting Unity Village. So this is going to be really a special time for us to go and to be at Unity Village, to walk the grounds, to sleep. We're going to sleep on the grounds at Unity Village. We're very excited about that. And he gets to recall his memories of being there with his grandmother and his mother, and that experience there. And I'm so grateful that she introduced that to him. That's a seed that was planted, and it is a seed that continues to regenerate itself, and it continues to bless us. It's made a difference in his life, and most definitely it has made a difference in my life.
And you just planted a seed in my head, or probably a plant, but it's a seedlet, right? And it would be an interesting idea to get together with a few people, and maybe you and I can talk about this offline, where we look at the historical perspective of the generational passing of this idea of new thought in the African American community. Because here we're talking about your husband's grandparent. So it would give a perspective that we were involved in these universal teachings, even though it may not be known or someone may not have recognized it. But to look at I forget what they call that book, but not an expose, but I'll get the name. But we that would be a great place to plant the seed for that idea, to have people who've had generational information leading up to the celebration of our soul, because your husband will be objectifying, if you will, some of his grandmother's ideas and hopes and dreams, which is what every slave, if you will, hoped for, that their kids would have better education and better access to spirit and so forth and so on. So that's I'm putting that in the barbecue and let it smoke for a bit before I get there. You
marinate in it. We're going to marinate in that. Yes. We get to marinate in this, let it marinate in this sauce some, because there is, historically, and even I just want to plant a seed. I know that from my experience in the African American community, if you speak and you say something about the word, you just say the word daily word, a lot of people can resonate with the word daily word. So they know a little something. They just don't know that they know a little something or have been exposed. But the daily word is a common thing. People can relate to it, even though they may not consider themselves to be a part of New Thought. They may be traditionalists, but that seed is planted right there. And, of course, I shared, I think the last time I was here, that I was so enthralled by the Johnny Coleman story and her experience. So with these teachings. So the thread runs deep, and there's a richness to it. And I'm excited because I took a class with Dr. Will Coleman, and he's going to be there. And his perspective does make a difference also. And it is very helpful in our understanding our lineage and our relationship to New Thought also. Yes.
I think you bring up a really
well, and part of the history, if you will, from the African tradition, from the African tradition in terms of diaspora, a lot of, and this is a workshop I'm going to be doing, is on the roots, if you will, of religious science of mind, New Thought, from the sacred sciences of ancient Egypt. And because when you look at the basic principles, those principles have been in line, are in place, and lived by and actualized, i.e. pyramid, i.e. Sphinx, for a very long time, because they understood how these universal principles work, not just in concept and consciousness, but also in an actual thing that you can see and put that into perspective. So the roots, if you will, of our involvement in these universal teachings is ancient. And what we,
Absolutely.
and I'm looking forward to, and I like your opinion on this, and as celebrating our soul, is to rekindle that in ourselves and to set up a permanent torch where if your light go out, just come stick it in that torch and get yours lit again,
There
so
you
you
go.
can keep carrying this light on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wonderful. We actually are planning with the youth program. The team, I kept talking with them about the pyramids, and we are actually going to bring a couple of pyramids and have the youth participate in an experiment with pyramids and its use. And we're actually going to build a pyramid where they can go sit in the pyramid and practice mindfulness. This is part of how we create that space where they get an opportunity and engage. They get to an opportunity to sort things out and figure things out. I'm just thinking about my nieces and nephews that popped in over the weekend to welcome me, and they got excited because we have this Native American drum, and they had so much fun banging on the drum, and they said, "Oh, we love this house, we want to come back again and again," just because they were banging on the drum. It's the intention that we set, and if we continue to expose them again and again, it does make a difference.
Yeah. I personally am just a little jealous. All right, I'm a lot jealous. But I can't be too jealous because I'll be at another conference and having an equally wonderful time in a very similar style of experience, because, and this is what I want to bring forward, you and your team and the people involved here, and all of them, and again, it's a massive team of people, are paving the way for what wants to be in New Thought, for what wants to be next. And you struck me a little earlier. You said the room for traditionalists, and yes, there is this generational honoring, but we want to remember that all of our teachers have admonished us to stay open at the top, and that means continue to allow newer information to guide how we express this. And what this team is doing, what this conference is doing, and is already doing, even though you're not even there yet, is bringing that forward in a more powerful way, in a more direct way, to say, this is the future of New Thought. Reverend Jerry, I'd love to touch base with you. What's your vision for how do you see this going from here even?
Well, I think that we visioned around this. I want to share with you, I've been part of the visioning team for the Celebrating Our Soul project. We've been doing this over 2 years now. I believe that this event is taking on a life of its own. And when you vision, you get to open up and get out of the way and allow for these things to morph into something that is beneficial in the world. So we have not had a conversation yet. It feels like this is an event. Many people have been speaking to us about this event. Maybe perhaps this is the beginning. And you know how you introduce and you birth something, and then it becomes a part of the fabric of life. And I feel that our work and what we're doing is becoming a fabric of life. It's not a one-time phenomenon. It is going to be something that continues to go on again and again. And we're just the torchbearers right now at this moment. And that others will come forth and continue to support us as we continue to grow through life, just like our previous New Thought leaders. Ernest Holmes brought something forth that was very, very powerful. And it continues to take on a life of its own. That's the reason we're all here right now having this conversation. And what I love to see is I want to see it brought forth from this perspective. I want to see it brought forth from many other cultural perspectives. We all meet together in the center. That's where we're at.
Yes. You know, I like that, because what would really, once that flame, if you will, spreads, it would be great to have, and I know they have the religious conference they got in Chicago next year and things, but it would be great to have, you know, start with 2 or 3 communities that have New Thought in their background, and Celebrating Our Soul organization begins to have different small groups come together and share the cross-pollination, for one, but also share the roots of how that connection through history has lasted. You know, I'm sitting here thinking about, you know, when you were talking about the daily word, you know, when I was growing up, I probably went to church 3 times in one day. First, you know, my father would wake up, we'd look at Billy Graham, and then we'd look at Robert Schuller, and then we'd go to church. But Robert Schuller, although he was more traditional Christian, his mentor, and he said from his own words, the person who impacted his life more than anybody else was Norman Vincent Peale. And so we know his program was all about positivity, raising your self-esteem so that we could rise above, which is basic, some of the basic tenets of New Thought. And so to be able to show that, so we can get away from all this separation and honor the different perspectives, as to demonize different perspectives, if you will. That may be a hard word, but to be able to, for everybody to celebrate their soul, because we know there's only one universal oversoul, and that is God itself.
Absolutely. You know, for me in these teachings, the part that I love about the teachings is the fact that we talk about inclusivity. And that includes every single one of us. And I truly believe that part of the reason we cope with a lot of the things in the world is because we all get to really understand and really step into that place of understanding that we are all included. History has not shown that to us, and many of us are still learning that process. I'm going to say it from a person of African descent. I know that that's part of the journey for myself. I'm going to say myself, start with myself. And it's part of the journey for those that share the same journey for me. And I think that as we continue to grow and evolve, that each of us, regardless of where we all come from, because I truly believe that we all come from the one, we get to remember that, we get to reinforce that. And my prayer is that we are an inspiration for everyone, regardless of the walk of life they come from, that we're that inspiration, that good shows up, and we get to celebrate the soul, celebrate it all the time, you know. So yes.
It kind of, it feels like, you know, when you said that, the thing just popped into my head. It's like, you know, when you go to your first dance when you're in junior high school, everything, and it got good music and great atmosphere, but everybody's on the wall, right? Nobody wants to dance, and there's that one person or that one couple who gets out there and gives everybody else the inspiration or the impetus to jump in and start, and then from that moment on, boom, the party's on, so to speak. And so Celebrating Our Soul to me is like that in a lot of ways, where it's taking this bold step to be the first, if you will, in this new era, to establish a rhythm, a band, a dance, whatever you want to call it, of African Americans and people of African descents contribution to this way of life. And when we can encourage that, if we can encourage other groups to do this, then we've done a yeoman's work. All right, man. Because that means more groups are going to get together and they're going to talk about these principles and how they're activated. And then from there, who knows where it's going to go.
And Z, you know me, I got to call you on this one. I want people of African descent not to be recognized for the contribution, but be recognized as the integral part of this philosophy. Because we would not be here without much more than just contribution.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that articulation, because I agree with that 100%.
That's part of what your workshop is all about, right? None of us would be here.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't for that commitment to this philosophy, to the evolution of human consciousness, to just being open to what the divine is downloading through us.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
You've reminded me of the paradox, and thanks for reminding me, but I don't like you now because I got to deal with the paradox again, right? where it says, those who say do not know, and those who know do not say. So anytime we get caught up in all these words trying to explain reality and God, it sometimes get clumsy, and I need a good friend like you to correct me. So I appreciate that, and let's keep that in my mind.
Hey, folks, this is New Thought Today on the New Thought Media Network. We need to take another quick break and say thank you to our financial contributors and committed givers. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back in just another minute with more with Reverend Jerry Hobby and New Thought Today here on the New Thought Media Network. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferlin Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a super special thank you to Dr. Tracy Brown, RSCP. Thanks for being a super donor. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
Yes. Thank you to all of our committed donors and sponsors. We appreciate all that you do to make sure we can continue to do what we do, which is share this New Thought message with the world and bring you wonderful conversations with amazing guests. Reverend Jerry, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm hoping you're going to come back.
Most definitely. I'd love to come back.
Folks, before we go, always wrap up with our final thoughts, and we want to make sure that we get started with Rev Z today. Z?
Yeah, I think my closing thought is our young people are our future, no matter how you want to look at it. And so we need to continue to do programs like we're doing now, where we can not only engage the youth, but inspire them and to give them tools to be our next leaders. And because they're going to be that whether or not they want to, right? I mean, that's the progression of life. And so I applaud Reverend Jerry for setting up this program and getting it all set up for our young people to come there and be inspired and begin to teach us, because they have a different perspective on life that we don't have right now. So again, that's another way of us getting that 360 so we can make this wheel just keep going and going and going. So that's my closing thought. A long one, but anyway.
Thank you, Jerry. Reverend Jerry, you're up.
Well, my inspired thought for today is to remind us all that we can all make a difference in the world. We can be a beneficial presence. And I'm inviting you to be courageous, to step into that space of being that beneficial presence. We can make a difference for each other. So I believe that our youth can be empowered, and we can show them, and we show them by the way we carry ourselves, how we respond to life. And we also create a space for them to grow. So keep an open heart, an open mind, and always leave space for them to be involved and engaged. That's my thought.
Thank you. Toughest part about this gig, folks, is following amazing people like this, because they took all the great, really, so much of what they're just said. I could say easily they have spoken for me. And however, I do want to encourage you, be involved, get involved. For the sake of our children, for the sake of the future of humanity on the planet, be involved, no matter what that might look like. If you can be at this conference, be at this conference. If that's not possible, check into the hybrid online version. If that's not possible, be at another conference, or be involved with what's happening. Join the group, padntg.org, and learn more about what's happening with this mighty ministry. Reverend Jerry, thanks for being with us. See?
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
And one thing you just spawned for me, Robert, is that if you can't be there, then maybe sponsor somebody else to be there.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, I know we can find some good people to be sponsored. So, all right, folks, this has been New Thought Today here on the New Thought Media Network. Join us next week when we have Reverend Sandra Wayne Campbell is going to be with us.
Oh, wow. You're in for a treat.
Yes, I have not experienced her on a broadcast before, so we're excited about that. And we're excited to see you again soon. Until next time, wishing you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.
Bye-bye.